Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome to the channel. It's Sunday night. That means it's time for some Mass Effect, and I don't have to run this show. That is Pope's problem. Hey, Pope.
It is a delightful problem to have. Hello, everybody. Pope here, Pope World Build on the internets. I will be your storyteller amidst many storytellers this evening as we get back into it with Mass Effect Gathering Dark. Um, we left off in a very interesting place. Not just the planet Noveria, but the Alanis Risk Control Facility, which is still recovering from a rather violent intrusion. Um, this all being like at the forefront, but in the background, there is some relationship drama afoot. So we will see how that all plays out. But before we get to that, let's hear from some of those amazing storytellers where you can find them and what they're looking forward to this evening's story. So first up, let's go with our absolutely favorite pilot and an enjoyer of interrelationship drama, Kryn.
Hey guys, this is Jesus. You can find me in most places as Arvandus or on Instagram as JA Robotic. And as was mentioned, I am an adept pilot who also happens to be a Hanar. And I had grown to love, Solarian dramas, but somehow someone convinced me not to watch and made people uncomfortable. Fine. But that's not going to stop me from, trying to make sure things work. If Tezek chooses between this potential partner, I'll vet them for you. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Someone who is looking at the great picture here, but being less about the marriage proposal and more about the entry wounds of this facility would be Bars, an amazing engineer played by Chris. How you doing this evening?
Hi, yes, I'm Chris Kinneas, aka the Painting Pirate, playing the unfriendly neighborhood Krogan, who is experiencing currently the weird situation of being one of the more focused and competent people in the group, and this is extremely unnerving for him, and should be for everybody else too.
Congratulations on your promotion to Scotty. Um, Someone who is in the thick of it, maybe the Kirk in this situation, if you will, would be our delightful inventor, tinkerer, Tazik. How are you doing? And what are you looking forward to?
Hello. Tazik's having not the adventure of their life. But hi everyone, I'm Lady Luck 34 and I'm playing Tazik, who's the Solarian engineer and has apparently turned into dating game, Mass Effect the dating game, unintentionally, and is I can't decide if I'm fearful that Tazik's gonna end up married or intrigued with how part of this party is going to contribute to that situation.
Someone who is going to be forced to contribute by oath, no less, will be our lovely doctor, played by Prax. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. The doctor is stressed because they realize that they can't lie about the medical records being incompatible. And that was an important point for me to say last week, and I didn't because I thought it, but I didn't say it. And then the doctor's like, "Welp, I'm sneaking into Noveria. Everything will be fine."
Well, to start with, everything right now is fine. Right now, this moment, where you all have your own little corporate suites up at the Noveria facility for Alanis Risk Control. Very cute. Um, And yes, for the moment, everything is fine. And you've got good digs. And that's when the messages start, where you all have very specific itineraries that have been forwarded to you.
Are they different itineraries?
Ever so slightly.
Oh no.
There is a initial like screening meeting that the doctor has with your well, Tazik's possible paramour, Klemesh Zound, corporate secretary of ERC Noveria Research Branch. There's that. Then there is the initial sit down with you, Tazik, 2 hours later. And then there's the tour, which you all have on your schedules, which will be after those two meetings.
So only the doctor and I have meetings to start with until the tour.
Yes.
Am I meeting with
You're meeting with Zound, yes.
Okay.
Again, by Lonesome, but again, this seems very formalized and almost corporate by the book, from what you can tell of what little you already know about Solarian mating culture.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, no, okay, this is serious. They brought their physician. Let's go ahead and meet with the physician first, then test the waters with the actual individual, because if the meeting with the doc doesn't go well, we might as well cancel the rest.
No pressure. Just have to make sure that this meeting with the doctor goes horrible then. But not too horrible that we get kicked out, but just horrible enough that the meeting that that things aren't going to continue. Very fine line of horribleness. Great.
So yes.
Did I mention that I have a -1 in charisma?
Yes, it is noted that the person that has the most capacity to save y'all is our pilot.
This one is glad.
This one is terrified for you all. And so let's quickly go around the horn. We'll end with you, Prax, but first, Jesus, what is Kryn trying to do anything during this downtime, or is Kryn content to check out his digs?
Well, there's no real mission as far as we know until we get more info. So I'm gonna check out my digs for a good 10 minutes, do a sweep to make sure to try to see if I can find any bugs or anything. And
okay.
Yep.
But by all means, make that investigation check.
Oh, right. And I just realized I forgot to log into Roll20. I'm a professional. Give me a moment. I'm really sorry.
That's okay. As you can, like, again, this is well put together. Like, the furnishings are definitely out of a corporate catalog. They're high end, but they're all like everything's very standardized.
Mm-hmm.
A combination of well done gray slate with white marble accents, long mirrors, individual temperature controlled rooms, um, decent bedding, a small bar in each room. But yeah, no, there's it. It is nice yet sterile.
Mhm.
Like this place has no soul.
So a corporate office. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said investigation, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I got a 15.
15. Um, there are not any bugs that are aimed inward to the room,
Mhm.
but there is definitely monitoring equipment for the doors and the windows.
Mhm. So they know when we leave and okay, gotcha. All right, so they'll know unless we able to circumvent it, like when we leave for other things. So, well, they're gonna know I'm leaving anyway. Time to explore. Uh, storyteller, could you just once again give me a like brief, quick rundown of what our objectives here on this planet again?
Right. You guys took the Novaria contract, which
Mhm.
is in dealing with a break into Alonus Risk Control and the stealing of a new coil gun prototype. The quick charging capacitors that are part of the prototype could have a number of military grade applications if scaled up and used elsewhere. So, this technology getting into the wrong hands could spell really, really bad news for the rest of the galaxy. Um, and as for Alliance Risk Control even making this, it's still sort of questionable as to whether this technology needs to be in the market at all. So, but it's something that a lot of very wealthy people have invested in.
Mm-hmm.
And now it has been absconded with in a very violent, very obvious fashion.
Interesting. Now we've established that in my previous life before this, I had my team go on missions against the interests of certain corporations. Correct?
Yes.
Would any of these corporations have been Elantris?
Alanis,
Yeah, Alana, sorry.
yeah, the ERC, unless you are getting into very specific private security, you're not going to run up against them. You're more than likely to run up against people who were trained by them.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that Kryn would be familiar with when it comes to Alanis is their overall security tactics for their
Mm-hmm.
personnel, because it is a template that is used to train private security all over the place.
All right. Then it feels I'm not going to get much immediate. I am before the tour. I'm going to go explore the area. I'm going to go to I think go to what humans tend to call a bar to chat up the locals. This one is very charismatic.
You're going to the corporate bar.
Yep.
We're going to put a pin in that. I need that later. Okay. And now let's go down to bars then. And what is bars doing in these moments?
Have we been able to see each other's schedule to where we're aware that there are differences, or have we only got the ability to see our own?
You can easily through your communications devices, like compare everything that's been sent to you.
Sure. Okay.
Real easy.
Then having realized the situation at bars, upon figuring out, all right, this is where the digs are, cool. Immediately we'll leave and go seek out Tazek.
Okay. So let's just continue there. Like, Tazik, you've gotten to your room. It is this well kept, soulless thing. Like good amenities, but still just that sterile feeling. And just about when you've got your head situated with this place, there's a knock on the door.
Anything's better than corporate room we're in, so goes to answer.
Yes, Bars is towering over you in in this doorway. We'll tap the data slate with the schedule and say to you,
We can't hear the dulcet tones of our Krogan.
I don't trust this. They're trying to split us up. We're here as your bodyguards. You got me and Esther. Do you want one of us to go with
you? Good catch. Tuzik's like, yes, I left it to them to set the itinerary, and I didn't think about where else everyone would be. I think Tazik's like thinking very hard about this. Like, it would make more sense to have one of you with me, but at the same time, you could be searching for other things while the doctor and I are distracting this poor unfortunate suitor.
Bars just gestures to the entirety of him and says,
precisely what about this do you think is suited for a stealth mission?
Do you think Kren is suited for a stealth mission?
To me, trying to hold a beer and it falling.
And we'll cut back and say,
of all of us, they're probably the best.
Tuzik's like, valid. This is I feel like having a bodyguard that's a giant, Tazik doesn't have polite words that don't relate to weaponry, which we're not supposed to have. So it's like, good call. Yep. You should definitely be with me during that meeting.
And then we will to move to deal with the other situation we have here, hand wave a conversation between Bars and Estley. Mm-hmm. To with one of them now apparently Bars accompanying Tazik and the doctor will suggest that Estley be the one to go and check the crate to make sure that got delivered correctly and that all of the stuff we need is still in it.
Yeah, so Estley will be going down another one of the elevators to receiving during this time. And then we go over to the doctor.
Yep.
You have a little bit of time before your meeting. Is there anything in particular you would like to do?
Just make her. She's just gonna clean herself up just enough to be that level of professional, like organize the space in the room, and at the same time happen to see if there's any like active monitoring going on in the space.
Again, the monitoring is not internal. It's more keyed on each of the ways in and ways out. There is definite monitoring security, but it's passive rather than active. There's monitors on windows doors. There's monitors you can tell like at ends of hallways, but in the personal rooms, suites, no. They have kept that private.
Okay. Then she would just set up her Omni tool for passive recording of any conversation, and basically as a shunt towards probably Bars and Kryn. Kryn, because it's probably a default in her settings at this point, like to have that passive, and then just adds Bars to that same channel. And then proceeds to begin going, making her way early to this meeting, which I'm assuming is occurring in some sort of medical facility.
No, this meeting is in one of those sort of, regardless of the year, regardless of the time period, there is always that corporate meeting room.
Mm-hmm.
that has that medium tone brown stained table with the leather rolling chairs without arms.
I'm assuming that we're now at the level that everyone has the ones that are in Nissan, where if you clap, they just seat themselves back in under the desk.
Though you are thinking that this out of the way facility has more money than you did all. Like this isn't Ilium. That would be on Ilium. This is Novaria. You have to manually move the chairs. We're not the sorry space. No, you don't have that nice things. But yeah, no, it's that classic, like, you can tell behind this large like cabinet that they have here that's where the whiteboard is hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that room. We have all sat at one point in our lives in that room. And so you get there early. This is definitely a room that is used for corporate depositions, because there is tons and tons of communication and monitoring equipment that is just installed within the walls and in the table itself.
Mm-hmm. She's just going to be early and see how this goes.
It's a few minutes, and then Mr. Zound comes in, has a nice Halliburton style briefcase. Takes a seat, gestures for you to sit across from him, and then just like one folder after another of just familial history data, recent physical, like anything that you could want on him and the people of his lineage for about 4 generations. He has on hand, ready to hand over. So, Dr. Sewell, how long have you worked with your current client?
I do not violate patient confidentiality.
Okay.
And she is like, pulls up her Omni tool, and you can see that she, she doesn't need to take notes. She's a Drell. But she just starts tapping at that question. and raises an eyebrow at him. It's like, you really asked how long I've been here, doctor? Wow, that's right up there with not cool.
Very well. Would you happen to be free to discuss the individuals who have put you on this path to be here today?
You mean my client, the good, Inos? Prax is forgotten, but Dr. Sewell would remember all four of Tezek's names.
Yeah.
And
No.
probably all of her degrees.
That is an excellent cover, but I was more interested in the corporate interests that have you here with your team today.
And at that, she's just gonna tap on her Omni tool is like, hey Bars, now's the time to pay attention to this conversation. And what makes you think I'm not here as a doctor for this particular agreement?
The rapidity of the agreement all of a sudden coming out of nowhere, the quick acceptance of amenities, gifts, etc., after a long period of trying to obtain even the slightest acknowledgement.
So you want to have this conversation in a fully recorded room?
Considering that I'm the one that's controlling the recording, perfectly fine.
What do you want?
Again, while I have to at least continue on with this, I understand as to Ms. Tazik's disposition, her genetics, and that she has absolutely no interest in settling down for any amount of time, let alone 2 years, which for someone like her would be the equivalent of 4. No, I am doing this out of dedication and acquiescence to my mother. Due to a series of unfortunate events, I am the last of my line. And until there is an agreement, I will be hounded by her, and I do not have the time for that. So if I can eliminate more than one bit of trouble at one time, I will. But given that the facility was struck as hard as it was, there is obviously outside corporate interests, those that have invested in the company, that want to perform their own investigation on site, but without raising the worry, concern, and the ass covering of those who are here locally.
Well, if you stepped up demonstrably in the psych evaluation and ability to discern further information. So, did you arrange the giant bomb on the side of the building and or the thievery that happened afterwards?
No. Those individuals were prepared, well-trained. Our current multiple heads of security are, well, the top 3 in line are back over at Port Hanshin. They are detained and are being interviewed and grilled as we speak, leaving the 4th in command. The strike happened with precision that says that there was someone on the inside who gave them information. And also, they were wearing full winter camo, as opposed to a lot of standard mercenaries that would not bother to paint their armor for whatever job because they like to display their colors.
Aside from the reported items missing anything that wasn't reported?
They were surprisingly non-lethal.
Do you have any personal knowledge of what actually occurred in the timeline? If all they wanted was to steal something and they had an inside man, they wouldn't need to put a giant hole in the side of your building. A smash and grab is a bit ostentatious for Novaria, particularly given the description of the skill set and preparedness of the individuals involved, at least according to your testimony.
Well, when the explosion happened, the entire facility was put onto lockdown. I did not have the choice but to stay within my office. That being said, the mid-tier research facility levels were quickly locked down, but despite our passive and active security measures, they were able to bypass both the elevator lockdown and the hallway lockdowns on each of the stairwells. They were able to swarm and attack at multiple vectors at once inside the facility. And then instead of going back out the way they came in, they were able to get to the roof access and meet up with some form of transport. Right after the explosion, another reason why I'm very certain that this has an inside job element is most of our internal monitoring software all of a sudden became corrupted for precisely 33 minutes.
Interesting. 33 minutes either side, or 33 minutes total?
33 minutes total.
Beginning at the point of rupture?
Yes.
And the actual, like, kind of text bars is like, would be really interested to know what happened in those 3 minutes before the explosion happened. Who was where and when. And then just be like, is there anything else you all want to ask this guy?
No, I'm imagining Bars is still there with Tazik, so she's also been hearing all of this.
Yeah, I guess Tazik would have messaged, like, okay, they've detained some of their security team, but who else? Like, were any of their scientists? Were any of their technicians? Like, okay, cool, they got in and out. What about the people that would have been on those levels? What about anyone else related to whatever was stolen? Like, related to that project, I should say.
Text back that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of exclamation points and question marks.
Was there any further individuals who, any additional individuals that were detained? You'd mentioned the detained security, but what about any of the, scientists, the individuals that were perhaps working in the labs that they hit?
Scientists were hit with some form of non-lethal chemical agent.
Question on that. Were the scientists all the same species?
No, mixed species, primarily human and Asari.
Human and Asari. Same reaction to the same chemical agent?
Yes, they quickly were incapacitated, knocked unconscious, and had a large memory gap from not just when the chemical agent hit, but also up to an hour beforehand.
Hour beforehand.
As for other people who are detained, most of the local C-suite executives have all been detained at Port Hatchan for questioning.
Any adverse reactions? Medical requirements? Beyond the loss of memory?
No, there's still a preliminary talk screen. We called in a favor from some of the scientists over at Binary Helix. They're running the numbers right now.
At least they're moderately competent. Do you have any samples?
Of the agent?
Yes.
No.
Blood samples?
Those are not for me to hand over. I do not have that level of clearance.
Yeah, that's fair that they exist. That's good to know. And a final question in my position as a doctor. You mentioned that this is to pacify your mother.
Yes.
How involved is your mother in this process at this moment? Is she here on planet? Is she
No.
diligently waiting for a report?
Yes.
Good. I'll be giving you a report that says that we need further conversations, particularly evaluating your mental capacity and capabilities to be a bonded individual and support any possible offspring.
That is appreciated.
I can make this last as long as you want.
Honestly, just getting something to pacify the panic is appreciated.
Have you considered cloning?
No. And considering the cloning process in Solarian DNA, it is at best a nightmare, at worst an abomination.
There is that, fair true. Well, at least we acknowledge that that's not something that you have considered, and therefore we can remove that possible negative from your list of psychiatric concerns. All right. Is there anything else you wish to share with me?
More, again, interested in who it is that sent you all.
Can I get an insight check on this guy?
By all means.
Let's see. That's an 18. Oh, look, I can roll more than double ones, y'all.
He's
Okay.
incredibly hard to read. This is somebody who has been in the corporate world for a very long time. Is obviously someone who has very little patience, even for Solarian. And considering that Solarians have usually minimum 6 children at a time, him being the last of his lineage means that there's at least 5 of his brothers who have probably died due to any number of unfortunate circumstances. It is a testament that he is this hard to read.
She'll just knock all of that and say, and then just click back, like, you know, message bars. Anything else? Question mark.
He'll tilt his head questioningly towards Tazek.
No. Tazek's like thinking very hard about it. It was like, nothing that won't be weird at this point.
I like your implication that this is not already weird.
And we'll tap back, we're good.
Then she would just raise an eyebrow at him and say, if you don't know who I am, then you don't have the security clearance to know further. But I do appreciate your insight and your ability to get as far as you did. Don't get dead.
So far, so good. Thank you, Doctor.
Have yourself a pleasant day.
Um, Now let's head over to an entirely different locale. Hi, PB.
Hello.
Whilst you were away, you you drew the short straw, as they did, and are going down to see that your two crates made it through okay and have everything in them that they should.
Okay.
So you head down from the executive suites to receiving. Um, there is a lot of security down here, a lot more than is normal, and they seem to all recognize to a degree who you are, and and give you space. To where you come up to like the desk clerk. Right, your crates. Yes, they have passed through. They are currently in the process of being inspected for any biological contaminant. Once they are scanned and sterilized, they'll be handed over to you. This will take about 20 minutes.
All right. Sounds good to me. It's my only job right now, so I'll just wait here.
Hmm. Um then let's take the pin out and see Kryn at the corporate bar making friends.
This one is okay. So Kryn. Here's the thing: before Kryn started working with this crew, he was the face, and he basically got the jobs for his Drell team, for their Drell team. But he wasn't he wasn't like in Shadowrun. He wasn't cool in a bar just waiting for Shadowrunners to show up. No, he basically he had an office. People showed up. He said, "This looks good," and just floats there. And the guy's like, and the person in front of him goes, "Are we done talking? Should we go or float?" Okay then. So Kryn goes into the bar, and for the first few minutes, actually, what does the corporate bar look like?
Oh, again, if you've been in a Hilton hotel within the past 2 decades, you know this bar. Everything is for the most part like round. The high tops round, the seats round. Everything for some reason is round. Except for the bar, which is this classic L shape made of way too much concrete and not enough good sense. There's like this combination of trying to be like sort of classic sort of 1920s, but meets hardcore deco, meets brutalist. It is a garish, horrific thing, with many a liquor lit behind in colors of pink and soft blue behind this bar.
Question: do they have any drinks that are Hanar compatible?
They have all of two.
All right. Then I will go to the bar. Kryn, go to the bar and say, hello.
Good evening.
This one desires a silent ocean.
Certainly, be a few minutes. And the bartender, who you can tell they're very, very skilled. They know what they're doing, but for reasons probably either extraordinary or tragic, they are here. And this is their life now.
So after the bartender makes the drinks and hands it to me, I take a sip. By taking a sip, I put a little bit into myself and then just taste it that way.
It's
This
it's good.
this is very well made. Very well made. This one wonders. And I floats a little closer. What are you doing here? This one is very well made. I expected this one expected mediocrity.
One finds himself in very strange places when one is in debt.
Ah, it was this one was rude to ask. I apologize. But we all have our businesses. This one is in business currently with the corporation. What was it called again? Elanis? Yes, for a client of mine. I heard there was an attack on Elanis recently.
Yes, the building was struck, and we're still all recovering from the attack.
That is sad. Is there any idea? Is it mercenaries? Was it perhaps another corporation? Do they corporations fight here physically, or is it just
Most corporations fight through lawyers, not guns. This is new, and everyone from the janitorial staff to the high ups are all a bit shaky.
shaky? Are they afraid of another attack?
Well, considering that, well, what was absconded with is definitely a blow to the company. There are far more sensitive things here that are still here.
Interesting. Well, this one hopes you well and hopes that perhaps this one apologizes. This one can't ignore their curiosity. Do you know anyone I can speak to further on the matter?
On the attack, most folks have a very firm memo saying to just toe the company line. If you're looking for somebody who actually might know something, gonna have to wait a while. Once the night crew janitorial staff comes online, they don't get paid enough to keep their mouths shut.
There's always a leak when corporations get greedy. This one thanks you for your advice. And again, I hope you get rid of this debt. You deserve to be known for your drinking capabilities. And I give him a fat tip and float away.
Definitely appreciates it.
Mhm.
So, Tazik, it's meeting time.
Tazik has been pacing this corporate terrible hotel room, slightly panicking after everything that occurred during the doctor's meeting. Is like, okay, it's time. Looks at bars. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
No.
Bars will just give a big, wide grin to Tazik and say,
Hey, just give me the word. I'll eat him.
Tazik is now having this moment of like, do Krogans eat Solarians? Should I be concerned about this? I have a lot of questions and I'm not sure I want the answers. And it's like,
Oh.
okay, cool, let's go.
There is an old horror franchise within Solarian space where yes, most definitely there are Krogan that eat Solarians. unstoppable undead Krogan.
We're rumored to eat any opponent if they make us angry enough.
Right. Tazik's like, we're moving on from this conversation. Is Tazik going to the same corporate meeting room?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, Tazik's just gonna walk in, be like, I'm here.
Bars will follow in behind and very obviously takes up a intimidating looking position, starts right next to the door, just scanning around the room, making sure to lock eyes uncomfortably long on anyone else in there.
It is just Zound sitting on his side of the desk. However, in the interim, many refreshments have showed up. That there is like a full like fruit tray, one of those little like make your own sandwiches tray, a few like things of what the humans love, the chicken tendies, and the barbecue and honey mustard sauces.
Tazik gets immediately distracted. It's like, ooh, starfruit. This is such a weird Terran thing that humans like to eat. But it's shaped so strangely. And it's just like sitting there, like adding a bunch of little sliced bits of starfruit to a little tray, like completely distracted by the refreshments. And then turns and is like, oh, hello.
Hi. I hope that everything has met so far with your liking.
It's certainly what I expect of a corporation of this prestige. He goes and like sits down and like eats like a little equivalent of a toothpick and like eats one piece of starfruit.
First, might as well get the financials out of the way. This is my family's offer to you for at least the preliminary stages of the contracts. Slides over a tablet. Tazik, how do you respond to a 8-figure dowry?
Man, that's a lot. Tazik would very slowly slide this tablet to the side and be like, the numbers don't matter. I have to decide if I want to do this first. So let's figure out the rest.
Certainly. But if I did not present that first, I would have heard about it. So.
And Tazik's like, yeah, it has that moment of like, ooh, I've been there. I get you.
Again, I understand that you are different than most and value your independence. This is something that I can relate to.
How long have you been working here?
I have been with Alanis for 6 years.
And Tazik would be like, all right. So you've enjoyed it enough to stay.
I like my work here. It suits me.
Eats another piece of starfruit. 2. And it's like, all right, well, would you be expecting to stay here for?
Oh no, if things happen by both tradition and also with corporate understanding, there would be a 3-year paternity leave to go back to the home systems.
Right. Okay. I feel like corporations are normally not that understanding. You must do good work for them.
It's more along the lines of they want to be able to hold on to Solarian workers, especially when it comes to their administration. And so these were compromises that were made.
Tazik's just like slowly looking around the room, like, all right. Cool. And why me in particular, knowing my personality?
It's not anything in particular. I organized this entire endeavor after the death of my last brother. The entire system is automated, so I don't have to actually pay attention to it.
Your parents put you up to this, didn't they?
I'm the last of my line, yes.
Big mood. So I was like, yeah, and this is why I don't live at home. Cool. Okay, what are you actually looking for from this? Because if it's automated, your expectations were low.
Well, considering that I work for a fairly human corporation in alliance-controlled space, or one that has had a number of black eyes recently, I wasn't expecting, to be overflowing with prospects.
Admittedly, I've also had some familial pressure, but I usually just ignore them. So this lets me say that I at least spoke to someone.
We are in different positions, as you still have a good deal of sway within your family. I, by my very nature, have just the money to my name, and that, my name, that is it.
Tazik's very shiftily, like, looking around, clearly had not thought this far in advance. How long do you anticipate being here? Set aside this for a moment.
Oh, I was planning on, unless something absolutely detrimental happens, staying with the company until it is time to retire. So, being here for another, well, after the 3 years paternity leave, probably 10 more years.
And clearly trying to think very hard about this. How flexible are you on it being now versus planning for maybe in the future?
Again, as long as the contracts are moving forward, that puts a lot less pressure on me. The pressure then becomes of more along the lines of, for the both of us, the longer this takes, the more likely my family is going to invest in security for both of us. I understand how that can be chafing.
Yeah, I left home for a reason. I know it's a little unusual. Tazik knows exactly who Tazik is in this very particular part of her personality and life choices. I am on a series of contracts that require obligations now, but in a similar stance, at least fielding some conversations to see who would be open to a potential future connection when those obligations on my end are complete. But I also understand that if you have familial pressure, that might not work for you.
Well, so far, you are the first to answer any query. So
How long have you been sending automated messages?
it will be 2 years in 3 more months, 2 days.
Okay. Do they just not want to come visit you? This doesn't seem that bad.
Noveria is cold.
This is true.
And, well, most expect me to pick up what I'm doing and leave and come visit them in the home systems.
This is true. I am an atypical individual within our society. How did the meeting with the doctor go? She's discerning.
Decent for mercenary grade, yes. Competent. Surprising to find a Drell that's available outside of government entanglements.
She's certainly an interesting character. I'm undecided and uncommitted here. What else do you have on the itinerary besides the tour? I admit to some concerns after hearing about the troubles that have occurred here.
Considering that your primary thing is to fulfill a contract, one of those that you have alluded to earlier, I was going to do what I can to facilitate your investigation, and then should a quarry be found, hopefully give you some aid and tools in the apprehension of said quarry. Again, retrieval of the prototypes would look good for both of us.
I admit I hired mercenaries for this trip just because I was unsure about coming here on my own, considering the recent challenges. Bars, do you know anything about this? Turns and looks at them.
Bars grins with a mouthful of cocktail sausages.
Respect.
Nope, this tracks.
See, I'm just picturing the ones that are in barbecue sauce, and so it's just that little bit of just like, is that blood or barbecue sauce dripping from his teeth?
Yes, I know these types of conference rooms and the food they offer. The cocktail sausages are one of the safest bets. It's difficult to screw those up. Like, they're probably okay.
Just eating pieces of star fruit.
You like picked up one of the little pastries and like tapped it. It's like rock solid. It's like, nope, that's not. But we'll nod back and say
it's a little difficult to ignore the gaping hole in the facility we drove past on the way here.
Yes. Some form of missile launcher, I have been informed. But not of a particularly lesser known model. It is one of the ubiquitous designs, and as such is harder to track down.
Admittedly, my background is armor, and
Yes.
I can't speak to this, but if you like assistance here, I'm sure that between all of us, we could make some progress on your concerning robbery of equipment.
Certainly. Again, I will have one of our recent consultants give you the tour. I apologize for his eccentricities, but it's the best we could do in the time that we were given.
Is he going to be better or worse than me?
Well, how are you with Vorcha?
Oh, they're friends. It's fine. We got this. Totally okay.
Okay. Well, he will be guiding you through the facility as well as the assault route in and their escape route. So if there's anything that you can pick up, that'd be great. Also, if you can find these people, that means that we can get him gone sooner, which is more of an appreciation, not just from me, but the entire Alanis risk control family.
Sure. It's we'll take that tour. I will consult with my doctor and we will see what progresses here. I'm just gonna take this with me and like grabs the tablet that had the financial info.
You also know that there's a menu in each of your rooms that if you want more of these hand foods, you can easily have that ordered and brought up to your room.
Oh, you all do delivery service too. Very corporate. Awesome, thank you. We'll see what we can do for you. In the meantime, oh yeah, also one last thing. Is it gonna be a problem if my armor's with me during the tour?
Don't see why. Does your armor self-destruct?
No, but it's kind of large and sometimes off-putting. I'm not sure if you saw it when we were coming in.
If it's the experimental thing that you've been working on for multiple years, I have a dossier on it.
Oh, you've been keeping track of Argos. That makes me happy. Okay, cool. We're going now. And just like slides some more starfruit onto the plate and walks out the door.
Following along, Bars is going to tap out a message to Estley on the Omni tool, which just says, "Guide will be Vorcha. Crates good? Question mark."
It's just as the guide will be Vorcha comes up that the crates are slid across security in receiving.
As I'm like I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna take these crates. I look at the message. I'm like, the quick, your phone lights up, you see the preview message, and then you look away, and then I do a double take, and I'm like, wait a second, and then I click on the message, and I'm like, so I look at the individual sliding the crates over to me. I'm like, oh, you guys have a diverse hiring team, I see.
Oh, you're meeting with the detective.
Oh.
Try not to bring any attention to the amount of clothing he's wearing or the outrageous accent. He gets angry about it.
Thank you so much for preparing me for both of those things. I would not like to seem unprofessional when that moment arises.
Also, they're just from their desk. They have a small tin of like peppermint extract. It helps with the smell.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will grab the crates and carry them up with the little vial sitting on top of them. And as I'm on the elevator, I'm assuming going up, I tap out the message. Been advised they wear a lot of clothes and have an outrageous accent. Try not to laugh.
Bars will very much not relay that instruction to Tazak.
Oh no! Okay. This is all good. all your equipment's there. Everything's good. It's solid. Like even Carl is completely intact and undisturbed.
I'll send to the group chat. Crate's good.
So you get back up, like people are coming from every which way as your little block of suites. You have your crate. You're able to get all of your weaponry. Get suited up to the degree you want. There are directions just to meet on this floor's little atrium for your guide. And after about like a half hour, a shape appears. I say a shape. Think if a Vorcha watched way too much film noir and took it like Mike Hammer era film noir, like full on trench coat, has a stogie, has the full on fedora shaped for a Vorcha head, mind you.
Is the trench coat yellow?
No. No.
I had to ask.
All in gray, black band. Salutations, people of all species and genders. How may I be of service to you all today?
You have a fabulous hat. Where can I get one?
Oh, yeah. I have a cousin named Marty. He works over on Citadel Stations. Was apprenticed to, bless his heart, a really nice Solarian gentleman with hats. He passed away recently and was able to inherit the company.
Have you ever considered adding a pop of color?
Doesn't suit me. Makes the fangs look even shinier.
I feel like, how do you normally give tours? Tazik's like oblivious to whatever's supposed to be happening here.
As he's like just like gesturing all of you into the industrial grade elevator, not normally, but given the situation and the case at hand, as well as what I've been assured is the private interests that bring you all here, I am more along the lines of informing you so that you can inform those who brought you here as to the current goings on. And your expertise is different than mine, so there may be clues that I have so far missed.
What
Does he
do
walk
we
into
call
the
you,
elevator
detective?
I'm Detective Rosencrantz.
This one is glad to make your acquaintance, Detective Rosencrantz.
Pleasure. Now, we should start at, well, the start, and that's the entrance. I hope you all are good for cold weather, as the tarps have had a nasty habit of not staying secure downstairs.
Is he like, are we on the elevator and he's
Yeah.
facing the door, so away from us?
Yes. Yes, he's just talking over his shoulder.
Okay, Tazik's sitting here like just making a whole bunch of gestures, and the rest of the, like, cannot process this Vorcha.
I mean, Kryn is there just floating. Is like, all humanoids are weird to me, so it's fine.
Oz will just sort of reach over and carefully lower Tazik's hands.
the doctor is there and is just kind of like acknowledges what Tazik is gesturing and then makes eye contact with Bars. It's like, thank you for for that, moment. Doesn't say anything.
As the elevator finally opens, and you're in the corridor, he hands each of you a mask to put on. They assured me that the chemical agent that they used after the entry has dissipated, but you can never be too sure. From the blast pattern, it's definitely a standard missile launcher, a generic that was used in the breach. From what little camouflage that was recovered, that could be descrambled, considering that as soon as the missile hit their security system, suffered a series of corruption failures. Each of the assailants was in camo, Arctic camo. So most of the standard mercenaries, but not necessarily their subsidiaries, have been eliminated from primary list of suspects. The chemical agent that they used has to be something that is designer in nature in order to have it affect both humans and Asari with the efficacy and the voraciousness in which it struck its victims. But the thing that I don't get is I can tell how many were here. That's 9. Almost nobody uses a 9-man crew for these sorts of things. Especially considering that there's very specific things missing. But they had more than enough firepower to take whatever they wanted in the facility.
Can I run an insight check on how legit we think this guy is?
Go ahead.
Like, we just have everybody else's explanation to us that he's been brought in, so. Well, I rolled a 9.
Tazik, you think he is super legit.
It's the hat. The hat is just.
He is hyper competent.
And Kryn also give an insight check a try.
Sure.
A second. That's a nat one. That's a nat 1.
I am loving this.
This is going great for us,
I'm the person with Okay, sure. You know what? Out of every human I've ever seen, Kryn thinks that this is the you know what? I think this is what all humanoids should be like. This Vorcha makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
You saw a non-Vorcha, but a character dressed like this in the Solarian soap operas that you were watching.
Oh, right. Detective Tunak. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, I loved it when he like turned around and says, and another thing. Every episode. It was great. It was great. We are terrible at our jobs.
This is beautiful.
Would are there any nearby corporations or corporations in the same area that specialize in chemicals and this type of?
You can go ahead and give me either. Let's see here. This would be either a science or a science, or surprisingly enough, a persuasion check, in that you may have had conversations before coming here, and this is what the conversations would have gotten you, or
Right.
the science would be like your personal knowledge of the local system and the corporations therein.
All right, we're definitely going science. Well, I rolled an 8. I have a +6 in science, y'all.
Things are going beautiful. Yeah, though there's nobody nearby that would have, like, there are plenty of different chemical companies, but ones that would be able to make a designer drug that was able to incapacitate both humans and Asari, that is a really far reach.
Can Corinne think of any, since he's dealt with corporations as well, any corporations that would want to particularly hurt Alanis in such a matter?
It's more trying to figure out which ones wouldn't.
Ah, right.
While everyone else is focused on our dear Vorsha friend, I'm going to try and see if there is actually anything still airborne in the nearby area.
Okay. And go ahead and give me either investigate or medicine.
We're gonna go medicine. It's gonna go interesting, but we're gonna go medicine. It's
9.
Wow.
Jesus
I rolled
Christ.
a 3. That's
Roll20 has chosen. It has
Yeah.
chosen y'all.
it's chosen violence is what it's chosen.
I haven't seen this bad of luck since the spy game. And for those of you who have followed me for a while, you know. Yeah, no. So far, everything's clear. Everything in the words of Riddick looks clear.
Hey, Rosencrantz. Is there anyone missing?
I thought that too, but all the bodies so far are accounted for, even the ones that more than likely in on the job. The most likely suspects have all been taken to Port Hanshan for questioning from individuals far more persuasive than myself. And all the folks that were unconscious eventually came to, though didn't remember much except for the smell.
You said bodies,
Yeah, the people who dropped it.
but they're all alive now.
Yeah, complaining of prolonged headaches, loss of memory, things tasting fuzzy.
You mentioned
Anyone tried to?
you mentioned smell.
Yeah, it was. One of the humans kept saying rotten eggs.
This one wonders, you said it was unusual for it to be a 9-person team, correct?
Yeah, but again, that is an overwhelming amount of force for how they entered and what little they took. I mean, you could easily hire a crew of similar grade to pull off a job like this with only 5 people, and then your getaway driver. So, no, this was odd.
Yeah, about that. And you won't find anything missing anywhere else in the facility. See, the way I'm thinking of it, I've been hired to be a nice big distraction before.
Yeah, considering the amount of damage to the overall security database and the matrices, I thought the same thing. But Alanis is not cooperating with all of my inquiries.
They're hiding something.
Again, there's a lot of very sensitive data at this facility. And while I have gotten clearance for a number of floors. There's 4 in particular I am not allowed there.
Interesting. Anyone try to figure out where the mercs went?
All I know is that based on the tire imprints on the roof, it's one of 5 makes of heavy military transport. 2 of them have space capability, but most of them are only for flying atmospheric. So that would say that if they did get off planet, they had to go to either a private port or get to Port Hanshin. Otherwise, they're still on planet. But finding them is like finding a needle in the haystack. Mountain ranges here are vast and deep, and unless you had a vessel with a number of probes that you wouldn't mind, parting with and getting permission from Port Hanshin to launch those probes, finding them is going to be a nightmare.
This one has a question. You said they mentioned the smell of rotten eggs?
Yes.
Was this from the substance they used, or did they claim it was something else?
Uncertain. Just that before they passed out, distinctive smell of rotten eggs. And it was after the explosion.
Interesting.
Someone knew exactly what species were going to be in here. Both to knock them out and to make sure that there wasn't a mudda.
But yeah, no, this place don't have much. They went from here. They were pretty decent about policing everything that they used. So whatever was the dispersal devices for the aerosol, they kept on their person. There was no explosions from whatever got aerosolized. Now, the thing that, again, I have very particular expertise, but electronic security is not my strongest suit. They were able to somehow slice past 2 layers of security to get from the ground floor into the stairwell. And then once in the stairwell, they knew precisely how many floors to go up to get into the middle of the research facility where the prototype was stored. They breached, aerosolized the entire area. Once everyone was down, they quickly retrieved prototypes and pulled the hard drives on the computers of every single computer that was related to this specific project. And then took their gains, sliced into the freight elevator, got it running, and then took that all the way to the top.
Can we see the lab? Is that part of our tour?
Yeah, I didn't know if you guys wanted to check the electronics down here or not.
Sure, why not?
Taz is gonna summon Carl.
Okay. It takes a bit, but yeah, Carl eventually gets to you.
Cool. Tazik would send Carl to start exploring the security system.
Would you like Carl to attempt to interface with the local security system?
Yeah, that's why Carl's here. I tried to upgrade him. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh God.
To be clear, Tazik is not doing this themselves. It's just Carl.
The singularity grows.
So, that was the dreaded indifferent face. So the language is spreading as Carl interfaces with the local security system. For some apparent reason, this little recon drone is able to bypass local security measures by introducing a purely VI generated language into the system.
Why must you taunt the happy sad die?
I'm sure this will not come back to bite us later. Okay, Tazik is letting Carl have a conversation and is otherwise leaving it up to the rest of the team if any of them also want to.
To show my age, and those of you in chat, do not taunt Super Happy Fun Ball. So
I'm glad you got where I was going with that. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Electronics is not Baz's thing. He's more physical engineering.
So Etzli, you were interested in the electronics. Would you like to make an electronics roll?
Yeah, I would love to make an electronics roll.
Delightful.
I hope you have better luck.
Finally.
17.
Somebody finally got a good roll.
Okay.
Evie's here to carry the rest of us.
So Etzli, you're taking a moment out to look at the layers of security on the stairwell door. The thing that you find intriguing is there are two separate lock mechanisms that they had to bypass. One, they brute forced. They just used a mid-grade code cracker, something that you could easily get in any of the darker markets around Citadel Space, or hell, there are some teenagers on Omega who can sell you one of these. And yeah, they just brute force the code to the outer door lock mechanism. But for the interior lock, they had something definitely high-end that interfaced with the door and changed the security protocol to fire. So everything that they needed within the stairwell was unlocked.
Is there a difference between the two locks? Like, is the outer one not on the same system or something that would make that happen?
The outer one uses primarily a combination of optical recognition and RFID. And it is not hooked up to, it is independent of the internal security system.
Mm-hmm.
The Arrow one is part of internal, the internal lock is part of internal security. So they used something that somehow they had system access on the internal lock, and from something that you're thinking is interfacing with their local Wi-Fi, was able to bypass and change the system's setting on the door. And not just this door, but also all the doors within the stairwell. While the external lock, which is not integrated into the systems, they use something rather generic but effective.
Interesting. I relay that to the team, and I guess our Vorcha friend here.
Curious. Says that there's different levels of experience on the team. There's somebody who's more than likely former special forces, military, who's part of the team makeup, but they've got some young folks on there too. Because somebody who's old in their old ways would either just want to, well, take a shotgun to the door or use something just as elaborate as they did on the Eternal Lock. So you're dealing with a coordinated team, most likely of mixed age and experience.
As they're talking, Crane is going to check in his Omni tool for just a random hunch. Are there any, at least relatively nearby, any places with perhaps volcanic activity or geothermal type stuff?
Go ahead and give me a science test.
Science.
And give me advantage given that you got a full like topography map as part of the deal of coming here.
All right. And you said science, right? How do
Yes.
I click on that on this? Oh, I got a Starship System. So just a regular intelligence roll? I'm assuming?
Science is a skill in the right to the
Oh,
right.
okay. I see. I didn't see it there. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I have roll with advantage. So
Yes.
Well, bam.
18. There's a number of places with some form of volcanic activity on Novaria.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I want to say, 7 specific regions.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are towards the poles, but there is a very young mountain chain that's just a little bit in the northern hemisphere that is also away from all the facilities, probably due to the fact that it is not like active, but active enough to be a concern that you don't want to necessarily put your, $1 trillion facility next to a volcano.
This one perhaps has a random hunch. You discussed the smell of rotten eggs, which could be attributed to perhaps sulfur. And there is, from my checking, a young mountain range with still significant activity. If the smell was not associated with the substance used, the smell could have come from the clothing of the mercenaries. It's a bit of a stretch, this one admits, but it's an idea.
Leaps in logic, you have to start from somewhere before you leap, and that's interesting. That's definitely a possibility. Well, let's get you guys to the facility. And on that note is where we're going to take our break, folks.
All right.
So go ahead, stretch, get some refreshments, go to the lobby, pick yourselves up a snack, and then be back here shortly where we continue on with the team's investigations and see if they land on something. See you soon, everybody.
Like proteins through the ribosomes, so are the strands of our genes. Watch tonight as we learn...
What's troubling you?
It's
It's your genetics sheet, Junarp.
What do you mean? Reads like we're near a perfect genetic match.
I know, but when you had that big crash last week, needed blood transfusion.
Yes, but I'm better now. Fit as Turian fiddle.
Your med report stated blood type was Alpha 7.
So?
Genetic sheet states blood type. Says Omicron 8. So, who are you, and where is the real Junarp?
This and all episodes of The Strands of Our Genes are available on Datadisc compatible with the latest OmniTool BioWare upgrades. Enjoy this and other shows from our selection here at Citadel Souvenirs. Coming soon, Arnbald Gitak leads an all-star cast in Kill Hard 3, Night of the Genophage. Be sure to grab your premium Krogan edition before they sell out next week. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store in the Citadel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
And just like that, we find our motley crew on the fourth research floor, Lost Risk Control Facility on Noveria. For a place that was knocked over, there's not too much broken glass. There's not too much that has been wrecked in here. It looks like there were definitely people who were working that then fell. As there's a number of stuff that is still scattered about, but it's not as messy as it very well could have been. The other thing that you all will notice is there's obviously more in any of you who have worked in the lab before. There is more stuff in here missing that is not listed as stuff that was taken. So they have obviously policed a few things and moved them elsewhere. So,
like, would it be prototypes or would it be like data storage and things that were?
It would be some data storage and a lot of the higher end tools for doing this sort of prototyping. So a lot of computers that you would expect to be here aren't here. A number of high-end tools are not here, as well as whatever server stacks were here, they're all gone. They've all been moved.
But would we be able to, like, obviously we're seeing that there's more missing. Would we assume that it's all directly related to those prototypes, or is there anything that would indicate if there were other things of interest?
To clarify, when we say things are missing, it's not that they were stolen, it's they have since been moved to a safer location.
Yes.
Right.
That is what you were all assuming.
Yeah.
Given the situation.
Is that actually the case?
Well, you guys could give me an investigate checks.
Okay. Maybe it'll go better this time.
Maybe. $15. Most of it definitely seems that way. Tazek, it's only because you've worked on a lot of prototypes, not necessarily guns, but between armor and things. There's something that you're noticing that's not here that's more than likely wouldn't have been policed. And the thing that you're noticing a lack of is data pads. Like, in any sort of prototyping lab, there are data pads just every which way. They are the equivalent to modern day spiral notebooks. Like, if you're in any place that is doing like hard science, there's some notepad, some notebook somewhere. And there are, like, you see next to none of them.
Detective, were you part of the crew that cleared through after everything was done, or did you show up later?
I showed up significantly later. It was only because somebody on Lannis's board wasn't happy with the local investigators that I was brought in.
Did they have was any recording, like footage or anything, images taken of the lab before it was cleaned up?
Let's see what they released to me. And He goes through his Omni tool. I only got 2 images. These were there's certain sections that have been blacked out, but this is what I was given, and slides over via the Omni tool images, and this place was. You see some of the tools that you are fairly certain have been moved, but also, yeah, this was like a standard lab. There were data pads everywhere. There was like you see in that one corner, like somebody has the multiple sad bowls of cereal that haven't been taken away, along with that one sorely abused, oversized coffee mug, and a stack of data pads, like almost like an oversized poker hand splayed out.
Thus far, the staff on this station, they've mostly been, I think you said, like human, Nasari, Solarian.
Yeah.
I think. Knowing how quick this place was hit, and the lack of a more muscular individuals, Bars is going to start hunting around, looking for anything that looks heavy that things might have fallen behind, that he can kind of shove out of the way to see if any, like maybe some of these missing data pads or anything else interesting got knocked behind something during the raid, and nobody has thought to or been able to shift behind them as of yet.
Okay. There's like 2 locations you can do that. Go ahead and give me an athletics test to see if you can move. Yeah, you can move. Mohammed moves the mountain. And yeah, there is like some like heavy duty measuring equipment, stuff that you're going like, okay, look, what is the weight of this battery? We need to know. Okay, so you move this giant scale, and it's not a data pad that's tucked behind the scale. Instead, it seems like one of the staff threw one of the capacitors behind the scale, so they didn't actually nab everything.
He'll pull that out and look over it and call
over it. Hey, Ethley, what do you make of this?
And I'll take it and I'll investigate it. What do I roll?
Engineering or investigation.
Okay.
Nat 20 on the engineering.
Yes. For 28.
Finally.
Edsley running at rolls tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's why we always bring a human on every mission. They're just lucky.
Better lucky than good. John 117. Yeah, no. This is a fast charging, fast draining capacitor. This is some top of the line stuff. This would have been a small part of the overall gun. Looks like it was quickly taken from its assembly and tossed. And whoever did this knew the robustness of these, and was relying on it. Like it's got some scratches, but it's still fully functional. So somebody very quickly made sure they didn't get everything, but they got almost everything. And
Interesting.
this is stuff that you and like your other tinkerers are like, this is sort of the bleeding edge tech. You have those conversations at like 2 a.m. about like, can't wait to get my hands on this when it's finally
Yeah.
out. Yeah, that's one of these things.
And as I hold it and I look at it, I give it like an extra beat of contemplation, and I tell everyone that this is top of the line. This is great. This is probably somebody took this out knowing what it was and threw it back there so they wouldn't get it. It's a fast charging, fast draining capacitor. It doesn't get better than this.
This one wonders if one of the scientists intentionally removed it for fear of the device being taken. Why wasn't it mentioned when those scientists woke up?
I was wondering
This isn't out yet.
why nobody came back for it. Could be that they just woke up and haven't had time to come back for it, I guess. I was kind of wondering about that too. The cameras, the footage was wiped. Hey, Tazek, can Carl get that back?
Good question, Carl. Tazek turns.
Tazek, please make a persuasion test at advantage against
right.
Carl.
My drone. He's my emotional support drone. You mean he's not going to just do it?
You nat 20,
I have a -1 on persuasion, everyone.
so that's a 19, but it's a natural 20.
That break was what we needed. Like night and day.
Definitely.
Back. Snacks are important, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, no, with like a polite little chirp, Carl just sends to you, Tazek, a feed that somehow miraculously has been uncorrupted.
Okay, so Tazek like has the Omni tool, the feed pops up. It's like, oh, this is so crisp and clear, and turns and like pats Carl in the head. It's like, well done, buddy. And it's like, cool. We got a feed, y'all. And I guess like tries to hold the Omni tool so that everybody can see it and presses play.
Yeah. And you show the footage. The entire room shakes. Obviously from the point of explosion. And like there's a specific graininess, like something is trying to attack the code. But whatever was done by Carl and the translation with the local VI, they have cleaned up the images. It's still rough, but you can see a human woman, lab coat, full mask, full gear, just like take the capacitor off the gun. Like it is the last one in the series, well, the first one in the series for going in the barrel. Removes that and then just baseball hucks it behind the scale just as you begin to like see like most of the other folks disperse, trying to get to safe corners, trying to do whatever they can. You see security folks starting to move quickly towards the elevator, towards the doors for the stairwell, and then there is just all of this gas that just wafts clear across the camera, people falling, and then a large number of individuals, heavy military armor, loaded with all sorts of thermal clips, guns, as well as carrying equipment. And they go about their business very swiftly, grabbing the prototype, pulling drives, and then you see somebody like just opening a duffel and just gathering every single data pad that they can find. And anything that could have anything paper that could have a note written down is also just pulled from monitors, pulled from drawers, thrown into duffel bags, and then they quickly do a sweep and then head to the elevator.
Is it possible to make out any markings on the armor that would indicate an organization or a merc band or any kind of identification at all?
They have gone to great lengths to cover that up. And you can tell that they have taken the time to clean up and paint their gear for this job. So either they were specifically informed to do that, or this is a group that is more elite within some of the Ori extant organizations. This is somebody who's calling not on like, oh yeah, give me a captain in this mercenary team. No. I want one of the commanders running this op for me.
And taking a look too at the
what species are they?
Hard to tell. They are distinctly humanoid. They're no Krogan, no one that big. But height is, I think the tallest you think is 6'6", 6'7", and the shortest being 5'10". But also they're all in heavy armor.
Is there
like
anyone?
Every single one of them.
Is there anyone whose knees are backwards?
No.
So no Taurians, no no Taurians, no
Quarians.
And do any of them have that very distinct Solarian helmet?
Two.
Okay. My favorite helmets in the game, by the way. They look very distinctly alien, and I love them.
No, there's two amongst the team.
Looking at the way that the group is moving, given what we learned from the previous one, that there seems to be a disparity in experience level. Is there any the difference between a number who are notably used to this sort of operation that they're moving with that kind of military precision versus those who look a little more freaked out or second guessing what they're doing?
There's the shorter members seem to be a little more like they're taking their time and sometimes going back over like they may have missed something, while the one who looks obviously in charge is like in the middle of the room, viewing everything, taking commanding position. Either their comms are incredibly well secured, or he is doing everything through hand signals and gesture, directing the entire operation.
What is the timeline from explosion to wave of gas to collapse of individuals? Like, oh, I guess more accurately, what is the timeline on somebody being exposed to the gas to collapse, and are there any external symptoms? Does anybody start coughing? Is there vomiting, anything like that?
Gas works fast.
Mm-hmm.
20 seconds worth of exposure, out.
Okay.
There is distinctive, like the coughing, the wetness of the coughing, like it is hitting those mucous membranes like a truck. And like this isn't like a gradual drop. This is, if they were vertical, boom. If they were towards the ground, they might curl up, but no, this is well designed. This is vicious, but surprisingly not fatal.
Is any of the original people in the room, the workers, acting differently than anybody else, aside from the capacitor thrower?
There's definitely there's a few that seem like this isn't their first time being hit in corporate wars, and are just like a drone going about their business, doing what it is that they're supposed to do when these sorts of things happen. And there's some folks that are obviously panicking, that aren't accustomed to this. Go ahead and give me another investigation check, as you're trying to see if anybody's like sticking out.
Okay. Just gonna do a quick little once over, make sure I don't have anything that helps me with this. I sure don't. All right. Big money, no Emmys.
12.
12.
Aside from those that are going through the motions of, here we go again, and then the people who are clearly panicking, looking to their senior fellows within this facility as to what to do. Nothing stands out too much, except that security went down real fast. Like, whatever was being sprayed, like, these guys did not have their masks fully sealed within the local responding force, which goes against procedure but could happen in a moment of panic.
All of them feels a little.
It feels a little weird, but also, like, if you zoom in, a lot of people who were on this shift, you notice that all the security on this floor at this time were human. Some of the scientists were Asari, but all the security force at this time on this floor were human.
With the information that we currently have, the description of symptoms, the timeline, the effects, the possible, all of that, and who was being affected, can I see if I can determine who may have made this gas, and perhaps B, just what it was?
go ahead and give me a science test.
Yay, science. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. Science versus medicine. All right. Science, I can do that too. And 11, not so much.
You know this much. Again, this was a designer compound.
Yeah.
This is something that is tailored. And because it's tailored, there's only maybe a handful of corporate entities that would do such work. This is more governmental.
Okay.
This is something that a government would more likely, like, in-house try and cook up, or may have on standby, pending on certain governments. But in aerosols, gases, that leans towards Solarian in development than anything else. Humanity really likes their guns, and really likes incapacitation by somebody either bleeding or being thoroughly electrocuted.
As it should be.
Krokans are master of heavy impacts, whether biotic or otherwise. And like Batarians and Turians are good with poisons of the blood and like omni-netting. This is something that is well thought out, well funded, well designed.
Was the commander individual, I should say, one that appeared Solarian by the helmet?
To put it in modern parlance, Jack Reacher motherfucker. This dude is a brick house.
Hey, Rosencrantz, do you have access to the duty roster for security?
I have partial access. Giving me full access is something that made a lot of people jumpy. But yeah, I can pull up some of them. Anything that is listed as sergeant or otherwise, I have been denied. But anyone who is just a crewman, well, I've got all their names.
I don't care so much about who was on the crew as who chose who was on the crew. I want to know who set the roster. Someone set it up so that they were all human here when it happened. We know who. We got our insider.
You're right, they are all human. Not just that, they all served less than a year.
So no strong ties to the corporation.
Well, also, they hadn't had to pass their internal exams yet. That's at the 2-year mark.
Interesting.
Or to get a promotion from crewman to sergeant, or get a posting internally, they have to pass a certain qualifications test at the 2-year mark. These are all newbies.
The entire floor was all new security, with not one commanding officer?
Not that I'm seeing. If there is, it's one of the names that's hidden from me. As for who made the duty roster, it's one of 2 security tags. I don't have the IDs for them, but I know those security tags. So you're looking at somebody whose name I don't have that's on has both standing in security and is on the corporate C list. That's a very small number of people who could have made that roster list.
Well, maybe we have one person who can help us find out. Hey, Tazik, feel like making a call to Loverboy?
And as soon as you say that, Kryn, like if there was a shot of you looking at Tazik bars, suddenly in the shot comes Kryn, and as he comes closer, maybe a little too close to Tazik, this one would like to listen in.
Bars were never speaking again. And Tazik's like, we could ask Carl to do this, but I guess we'll all right, fine. She like dials into her Omni tool. It's like, Kryn, too close.
This one apologies, an inch back.
I guess this means that your investigation is going well. What can I help you with?
We found something that your kind guide does not have clearance for. Any chance you can either give him clearance or give us clearance?
What's the code?
Tazik turns to stare at everybody else.
What are the security codes that you're getting the read off? Because the idents are not going to be there. But I might be able to run from my own terminal and get access to human resources to know whose code that is.
All right. And looks at the others and is like, can you give us the number? Or can you, like, holds up the Omni tool? It's for you.
So there's some fiddling, and okay, the two codes he gave me, one is the senior security executive, essentially the second in command, and then the other would be our COO, would be the other code that you have given me. Both high level, and both have been with the firm for quite some time.
This one wonders, does either of them have ties to a particular government?
Both have ties to multiple governments. Our CRO is former Taurian military. As for our executive, security executive, she has ties with Alliance military.
Interesting.
I think at this point, this is where like the doctor would like share through text the fact that the gas itself was likely made by the Solarians. Whether or not they sold it to someone else, she doesn't know, but it was likely made by the Solarians. And so she would share that and say, and then would say, well, I would like to speak with, personally, I would like to speak with the good COO. Long-standing connection between Taurians and Solarians with standing.
You may want that, but that's currently, he's in Port Hanshan being questioned.
Isn't the second in command of the security, aren't they also in Portation?
Yes. They are the primary suspects, along with the rest of the C-suite and the other security officers.
Are there secretaries in Portation as well? Admin staff?
There's a few. There's a small admin office where most of the C-suite has a secretary.
Yes, but are this Taurian and this former Alliance member, their secretary, are they currently in Portation?
Hanchen. Let me check. The security officer's secretary is in Port Hanshan. The COO is currently at another base. They're at the secondary facility.
Secondary facility?
Yeah, it's our old facility. We were winding it down while trying to transfer everything over to here.
Where is this facility located? Nearby?
No, it's an entirely separate hemisphere.
I've had such a great time on this tour. I'd love to check out the old facility too.
I'll see if I can't get you more clearance.
I would also like you to know, you seem competent. I wish you luck. And then Kryn tries to whisper to Tazik, but failing. He seems nice.
Kryn. We'll let you know if you find anything else.
There's visible confusion on Sound's face, and Rosecrans posts on the stogie and just chuckles.
Like, Prince.
This one is just trying to help.
Well, if you do get hitched, I do have a cousin on Citadel Station that does amazing tailoring.
Fantastic. Give me their number. I will help set it. I should stop, should I not? This one should stop. This one apologizes. This one gets excited.
All of a sudden, you have like all these different contacts from Rosencrantz of like family members and their specialties.
It's like, this is a great catalog.
And at the same time, Carl has like come closer to hover directly in front of Kryn.
And Carl and Kryn seeing this, obviously Carl is just trying to help, and Kryn sends it all to Carl.
Oh no! Oh no!
Carl was trying to intimidate.
Nope. I don't see it at all. Carl's part of you. Carl wants to help, right? It's your machine.
That's not well.
Carl now has the names, numbers, many fortune.
I want it to show to chat. This one wasn't me. This one was not me.
You should have known what I would have done.
I would also like to point out, so now we have a bunch of an intelligent VI with its own language system, who's obviously growing, with a lot of Vorcha. Does that mean
nothing can go wrong here?
Nothing can go wrong here.
It's been great. It's great.
Nope. So, yeah, no, Rosencrantz goes, do you want to go up to the roof? But you guys seem to have a good idea that this team may be at this secondary facility.
I think if nothing
Only
else,
a hunch.
I mean, Dr. Sewell, you seem to think the same as I was going with, that the COO is probably the more suspect of the two.
Yes.
Let me see what I can dig up on him.
And his
Yeah.
secretary. A good secretary always has the same access codes as the C-suite member that they serve.
Fair enough.
I figure Chief of Security wouldn't have been this half-assed about leaving such an obvious trail.
Well, I'll see what a few of my contacts back in the hierarchy are willing to give up on a member that was once one of their own. But we'll be in touch. if I don't have too many family members that do the whatever it is that you all do, but I do have, well, not directly related, with friend of a friend, does have ties with Blood Pack. So if you need like extra bodies,
Keep that in mind.
yeah,
That-
you guys
was that
seem
on
like
the
good
list of-
folks.
Was that on the list of contacts you gave Cran?
Oh yeah, but he's towards the bottom.
Fair enough.
I sent everything.
That's your wedding security right there.
Yo, well, you need security at a wedding, obviously, just in case the twin brother comes in to try to steal you.
Now I'm just seeing Blood Pack security.
Todd's looking at Cran like, what weddings have you been to?
Like all these Krogans, all these Krogan in Vorcha in like painted on tuxes in heavy armor.
Spray painted up bow ties.
Yeah. And again, it's Blood Pack. They also use Varen, so a bunch of Varen also their armor painted as tuxes. Such an eclectic wedding. Beautiful. But yeah, no, things are arranged. You guys get on a another heavy aerial transport. This one's only atmospheric and is definitely an older company bird. You are being flown out to the secondary facility. Now, I'm going to give you all a choice. And this is an elective choice for the group as a whole. Do you call ahead to let them know that you are coming? Or do you just show up unannounced?
I vote we absolutely show up unannounced. Calling ahead gives them time to hide stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We are
As
not.
long as we have like some type of documentation or something that allows us to just walk in, all for showing up unannounced.
I am totally down with showing up unannounced.
I support
I
showing
also-
up unannounced. I even support possibly bailing out of this vehicle early.
Mhm.
Oh,
Roach
okay.
on foot.
Just in case they decide to blow us up.
Shoot the vehicle down.
Yep.
But that's also because I'm a drill and I have the acrobatics to do so. I also understand if somebody else wants to just land on the head.
I will say, I have slow fall.
Oh, great. You guys can para-jump. You can halo out the back of this thing.
If we wanted to.
Okay, wait. But if we did, could we use Crin like a parachute?
No.
No. I have biotic.
if
You don't
you
have
had-
to use me as a parachute. You do that every time, Taz.
Listen,
But,
you
like,
keep
what if you
trying to
had
schedule my
a
wedding.
lot of bluefin fish, and he was large enough. Then would
No,
we
no.
fall fish?
You do not need Kryn the Zeppelin.
We don't need it, but we want it.
I mean,
Yeah, but
I would
would it
also-
be a thing?
I would also like to point out that they are technically a jellyfish. There are tentacles. There are things to hold on to. Now it just becomes like a parachute coordinated
just me,
drop.
my tentacles
We
sprayed
do-
out
no,
and
no,
they're
no,
circling around me.
I do not need there to be a new Kryn balloon for the Macy's Day Parade, okay? Like,
Just a
like,
shot of
you
the
can all
blade
go
falling
that
down
route.
like, this one is helping!
You can all go that route. I'm just thinking if they try and shoot the carrier down, I'm just going to try and crash it into their building. Like that's just
Yes.
okay, so you're showing up on the
that's
night.
just making an entrance.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would like you all to get one renegade point.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are always the types of things that I got renegade points for. It wasn't being evil. It was like, well, this seems like a much better choice.
Yep.
Mhm. And so you all gain a renegade point. And I'm just going to ask, are you getting out of the vehicle earlier, or are you staying on and flying all the way to the facility?
If we think these guys are responsible and they suspect us and we're going in and out, I go with the doctor. We jump out early just in case.
We say jump out. We can land the thing.
No,
we
no,
don't
but
have to jump.
Land.
Also,
or
what's
like
the terrain?
ride low, and we just, casually jump out.
I mean, I'm fine with this. But what is the terrain around here, though? Like, what kind of a walk are we talking?
You guys are.
Oh, I'm not saying. I'm
We're
not,
gonna
I'm
be
not
in
saying,
that volcano. That
I'm not saying jump out like clicks away. I'm saying do a helo drop. Sorry. I'm trying to think in non-military.
Halo jump. It's a halo jump.
No, not a halo jump. A helo drop.
Okay.
A Vietnam era skim and drop.
Okay.
So you come in and have them drop on the building before you actually land the vehicle, so you can secure the area for the landing.
What you're coming up on, it's a very odd piece of terrain. It's a ways away from an active volcano. But it's a good ways away, but still enough to be able to tap into those thermal vents. So it's probably geothermally powered, this facility. So it is in a valley. And the back of this facility is into rock wall. And it's not a full-on box canyon, but there was once a river here. The river has gone dry. And so it's this log, like if you were driving up, there's a lot of lack of cover between you and the facility. And unless you're going for a ring around approach for doing an airdrop, it's going to have a lot of view of the sky to see if anybody is causing an issue. So it's in a very good defensive location. It's also a much smaller facility.
I have another very, very important question. Did Rosencrantz come with us?
No.
That's one smart version.
Yes. So, are you guys getting out, or are you guys staying in?
I vote for the get as close as you can. If they start to take an aggressive action, then bail.
Yep.
Or crash and let the Krogan crash it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the Krogan chooses not to crash it and bails as well.
Yep.
But,
Okay.
I'm just saying, if it's going to not fly anymore anyway, why not have it be useful? We can make a door.
I mean, not wrong. What type of kind of like landing pad area is there? Or is it more like a hangar?
There's 2 landing pads. There's one that's at the actual exterior of the facility, so right out front. And then there's another that seems to be up on, like, there's a cliff face that has a helipad that then looks to have like a large service elevator that is nearby the helipad.
Are we flying this ourselves, or did they give us a pilot?
They gave you a pilot.
Sucks to be that dude.
Were we having this conversation in the back while he was piloting us?
This one thinks it's unfortunate that we have a pilot.
I'm gonna lean toward. You said the hangar was on ground level.
Well, not a hangar. There's 2 helipads. There's one that's towards the top of the facility and one that's at the bottom, out in front. There's like an actual helipad. Like there's
The one at top was the one with the service elevator.
Yes.
I say we do that one because they were probably offloading the stuff that they stole here. And that seems like the most likely one that they would have landed on. And so whatever they stole is probably still nearby.
Makes sense to me.
This one agrees.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to attempt to land.
I like how
When you say it like
attempt
that
was doing in that sentence. Yeah.
I don't like what you just said.
Again, attempt is a load-bearing attempt. So I just want to get things straight. We're attempting to land.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Attempting to land unannounced.
I mean, assumingly we have clearance.
You assume you have clearance.
We're in an official.
You're in an
something.
official vehicle. However,
Yes.
that was the super angry face.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
So, news. As you're making your way, you have your corporate pilot. All of a sudden, alarms start blaring as missile lock detected. And that's where we're going to end the episode today.
It's always a great sign when you didn't bother to name the NPC.
They don't even get a name.
Nope.
No, again, we're doing this almost
I mean-
like by 90s sci-fi. Corporate pilot. That is the IMDb entry.
Okay.
Does his
No,
uniform
he's fine.
happen
He
to
has
be
a
a red shirt?
His name is Casualty.
So that is where we're going to end it today, folks. Thank you all so much for being here. Where live YouTube story is nothing without science. You're much part of this as we are. If you want to see more of this silly face, tune in tomorrow night over at Wandering DM, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for more Montreal by Night, where we are not happy and we are underground. Hunger has been satiated, quote unquote, and there's a lot of running around to do. And then Saturday over on Valdian's channel, 3 p.m. Eastern, same hat, different seat, as I get to play your pilot of the Myrmidon, Victor Caveman Grace, and then be back here on Sunday for more Gathering Dark. And with that, let's check in with the crew and where you can find these amazing storytellers. Hey, Jose, how you doing? And where can we find you?
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter and most other things as Arvandis. Although in Instagram you can find me as JA Robotic. I'm part of a podcast called Fanable, which has been running for like 13 years. We run a variety of games every Friday in the podcast format. I also have a YouTube channel called Arvandis, where I do lore videos and various war games because I'm that much of a nerd. And that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Well, someone who doesn't have too many nutshells, but does cause some of us to go a little nuts. Hey, PB, how are you doing? And where can we find you?
Hi, I'm PB. You can find me over at PB Plays Inside over on twitch.tv, where you're at right now, or on Blue Sky. Both places where I'm the most active. Right now I'm playing through the Mass Effect 2 campaign. I'm right at the end. I have spent the entire weekend just getting all the random extra missions on the planets that you have to search for. And I had to revert back to save because I started the last sequence a little earlier than I wanted to. So I've reverted back to save, and it was a whole thing, but it's done. And on Tuesday, we will be back with some Mass Effect 2, hopefully to finish it this time, and then get started with Mass Effect 3 the next day. And is this my only show? Yes. And yeah, this is a great show, and I am very excited to be here. And I love all you guys.
Someone who was helping in the ways of love was our favorite Krogan. Chris, where can we find you and what are you up to?
Yes, Chris Guinness, aka The Painting Pirate. You can find me over at twitch.tv/paintingpirate or paintingpirate.com. I'll be back tomorrow over at 7 p.m. Eastern, most likely, where I'll be either doing some Magic the Gathering or FF14, haven't decided yet. Thursdays, All Influence Wrestling, my community created WWE 2K23 project. And then on Saturday, actually, a distinctly different sponsored stream, I will be showcasing the console release of Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So that'll be fun. So come check out that 1 p.m. Eastern. And then otherwise, my schedule is going to be absolutely all over the place and wild because I'm in the process of a cross-country move, leaving New York City and moving to California, which kicks in at the beginning of March, and I'm super prepared and everything is going to be fine. Yay.
Someone who is always fine, no matter what comes up, is our favorite tinkerer, Tazik. Hey, Layluck34, where can we find you and what are you up to?
Poor Tazik's gonna end up accidentally married at the rate we're going. But hi everyone, I'm Lady Luck 34 around the internet, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, Twitter, all the things. You can find me. I'm usually streaming a couple times a week. Right now, currently Monday and Wednesday evenings, a mix of video games and crafty things. Some go better than others. It's fine. I'm sure. And then back here on Sunday evenings, playing this poor unfortunate Solarian soul and not questioning letting my drone talk to other things. What's the worst that could happen when those conversations occur? I'm sure it's fine.
And
still have yet to learn never say what's the worst that could happen.
Especially, I keep letting Carl talk to things. So
like not just my own background, but this particular channel. That is never a safe thing to say. Isn't that right, Prax?
I have never said it. There have been other people who said it, but I have never said what's the worst could happen. Because I have had players who said, hi, I have magic and uranium and I want to actually create the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great, have fun with that. That did actually happen. On this channel. But hey everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you players and GM and all of you who hang out every night. I appreciate you for being here on a Sunday night. I'm your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome to the channel. Couple things. First up, if you want to support this and you want to support the shenaniganry that's going on here, I have a Ko-Fi. All of that goes directly back into the channel, running all the tech, all of the support, the overlays, all of that stuff. There is also a YouTube where there's a very nice handy dandy little playlist. If you've missed out on the first 2 episodes, you can go check them out over there. Also a bunch of clips and things are going to be popping up there soon. It'll be great. But as for me, you can find me next over with Pope on Wandering DM at 8:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night for Montreal by Night, where hashtag not the Ravnos' fault. Things might be going bad in Montreal, but it is not the Ravnos' fault in any way, shape, or form. And then I'll be back here on Saturday night for our book club chats and our community read-along this week, where we're talking about things and all the books that I've been reading, which is great and just fun times are had by all. And then back here on Sunday for more of this fun times, because I am sure that everything will be fine and that we've had these 2... we have these crates, right? Like, we have the stuff that's in the crates because we took it, right?
Yeah, you have your gear.
Good. That's good. I feel like that's a lot better. I am much more willing to attack a facility like this with a bunch of grenades and a bunch of heavy artillery in the hands of our Krogan than rather just, nothing. So, find out what shenaniganry and fun times will be had next week. And I should see if there's anybody up we can raid. Oh, High Shelf Collective is up. We'll go raid High Shelf Collective. They're doing a beach episode. I just have questions that I need answers to. But we will see you all next time, and I appreciate each and every one of you.
Bye.